is All This Has Nothing to Do With Me. I read this very early in the year, and later in the year I was lucky enough to start working for the publishing house. So if you watch Book Break, which is a cool thing that I do, you might see more stuff around it on there. But this is a very funny collection. I've just written in the margin of one of the things, this is everything. A very like funny collection of emails and texts and objects that denotes one girl's absolute obsession with a man in her office, and it's about unrequited love. It's very intelligent, it's very funny, it's very, very short, which we like, and she even like draws out where they sit in the office and stuff. It's just really creepy. Like, I love creepy stuff, and if you like listening to like Kate Nash and like kind of and Taylor Swift songs about like creepy love, that you're like, this is creepy but also like really funny because I recognise it and now I can laugh at it myself. It's like that. The first page opens with a picture of the Titanic, and it says, "The first section of our analysis will focus on the pathological phenomenon blind love. We see how an individual can be unexpectedly struck down by this tenacious illness, even though that same person has so far been progressing artlessly yet confidently through life. Scientifically speaking, it is noteworthy, even poignant, to identify some of the early indicators of the disaster ahead. These intrinsic signs ignite like warnings written in letters of fire, and yet the individual passes hastily by with the innocent smile of a child being led to a sacrificial altar." Absolutely brilliant. Translated from French as well. Another one that kind of reminds me of this is a book that I did a review of ages ago. The book is actually underneath my bed. Really far back, guys. It's really far. It's called Important Artifacts and Personal Property from the collection of Lenore, Doolan and Harold Morris, including books, street fashion and jewellery. That is what it's called. It's a really funny take on an auction catalogue where a couple's possessions that remind them of each other are being auctioned off, and you can work out the story from reading the entries in the catalogue, and it's just devastating and very clever. The next one is The Magic Art of Tidying. Everyone's laughing at me for liking this book, but I think it's brilliant. I might do, if anybody would like to see it, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I will do a like how to tidy up your life kind of video, because I have got rid of about 2/3 of my stuff in the past 6 months, and it's been really, really great, and I like completely changed my attitude to owning stuff, because I think that when you're a kid and you know that all of your possessions are your mum and dad's, you want to like buy stuff to be like, this is mine, this is my castle, these are my things, these are my subjects, and after a while you're like, actually this is like having more of a negative impact on me than a positive one. Basically it's this like slightly unhinged Japanese woman who has developed a method called the Konmari method of tidying up, and the theory is that you take a lot of time, maybe over 6 months, getting rid of a lot of your stuff that you don't need, stuff that doesn't bring you joy, and then you never have to tidy up again, which is a very, very tempting prospect. And while I have been tidying, I've been tidying a lot less, and there are a few things in it that are like a little bit like, can you calm down, Maria Kondo, on the whole, like telling me that I should be wearing ladylike pajamas. But in general, it was like a really great pep talk. So I think a lot of people are naturally tidy. Like Sana, like was very just like, why do you even like this book? But Sana's a very naturally tidy, organised person, and I'm just not. And sometimes I need a pep talk. And this was just an elongated pep talk. Some of the advice was quite obvious, but some of it I hadn't thought of before. And like it was just a big surge to be like, right, you need to sort this out. And you're like, yeah. Cool. That book definitely changed my life for better this year, so that's why it's in the list. Next is The Grace Keepers. I did a review of that before. I will link it below. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that here, but I just thought it was bloody brilliant, and it's like got all of the elements that I love. It's got magical realism, it's got circuses, it's got mermaids, it's got just like beautiful literary phrases, it's got tragedy. Basically, I think there was a boardroom somewhere plotting. They were just like, we're going to get Leena to buy this book. Let's go. Big Magic is a book that I just read, and I would love to do another video on this later, so I won't talk about it too much. Don't talk about it too much, Leena. Stop getting excited. It's by Elizabeth Gilbert, and I will link a free, I think it's free, or is it 99p, hour-long interview that is available on Audible of her talking about this theme. So I would suggest that either you listen to her TED Talk, which is about genius and creativity, or you listen to that and then decide whether you'd like to read the whole book. I listened to it on audiobook. I think Elizabeth Gilbert has the most beautiful voice. She reads it out herself. And that book enchanted me. I was just in a daze. It was like a lot of things that I'd been struggling to express for a long time about why we create and how like important it is, and how we're not taught to like value it as, you know, it's kind of like my bathtub busking series, where my ethos is like, we should just do it because it's fun and it's good for us, and it's like doesn't have to be this big thing. And it definitely made me do NaNoWriMo as well, and I'm really, really proud I did that. So go me, and go Elizabeth Gilbert. Spinster is another book that I'm definitely going to re-listen to. That was, again, I listened to it on Audible, and again, it's read by the author. I think it's so much more powerful when they read it. That book is just brilliant. It's a memoir about a woman who was unattached for a long time, and she gets really curious about it, and she basically picks for herself 5 almost like big sister guiding character types from history of like women who are lived their lives not being maritally attached. It talks about like Vogue columnists in the 1890s and how it traces like the history of single women, and it also talks about her story in this really clever and engaging and very relatable way, and it had just this really beautiful rhythm to it as well that I really just appreciated on an artistic level. And I already did a video on that one, so I'm linking it below. But I'm probably going to read it again at some point and make a video on it because it's so good. And then lastly is Amanda Palmer, The Art of Asking. I did mention this in my booktube-a-thon video briefly. Again, definitely making another video on it. Amanda Palmer started off as a street performer. She was the 8-foot bride. From what she learnt from being a street performer and just actively asking for things and taking something in return, and the kind of relationship between the audience and the creator, drove her to do her whole music career in this completely different way. It's just a book about how to be a good person. It's a book about asking with respect. It also has, in the audiobook, it has her songs in it, and in the book it's printed. I've read it physically now, but I first listened to it. A lot of people related their experience with their local buskers. They saw their tips in the hat not as charity, but as payment for a service. If asking is a collaboration, begging is a less connected demand. Begging can't provide value to a giver. By definition, it offers no exchange. Here are the words on the blog that commenters used over and over trying to describe begging. Asking is like a courtship. Begging, you're already naked and panting. And it's the difference between begging for money without doing something and making a collaborative project with people and really just genuinely caring about them. Like, I wish that every big famous YouTuber would read this book and then just like approach their audiences and their comment section and the way they share their life very differently, because I think she does the difference between like guarding herself and also just like treating people that like her music as humans in this like really amazing way. And also, if you like some romance, it's also about how she fell in love and married Neil Gaiman, which is also very nice. Okay, there, I've taken up far too much time. That was really stressful but really amazing because it made me think about all of the amazing stuff I've read in 2015. I will also be putting up a video on all the books that I'm excited to read in 2016. If you're interested in that will be going up soon. Thank you for watching. All of the links to these books will be in the down bar. If you would like to buy them through my book depository, then there's a bit below too if you want to bet somebody. If you buy them through that link, I get a little bit of a tip, like I am a bookseller or I am waiting on your table giving you wine. Or you should buy them from your local independent bookshop, please. And thank you. Frogs knock out. It's so refreshing to just read something that I'm like, oh, this is science and it's brilliantly written. Thank you.